Good morning. I'm on the 110 freeway. I just got off of the 5. I'm right next to Dodger Stadium, and I've got if I turned around and went home, it would take me the same amount of time for me to drive to work. My commute every morning is an hour, and I have another half hour to go, and I'm seriously going crazy. So I figured I'm gonna do a thing every Wednesday. Oops. Give that guy some room to go by. I decided every Wednesday I'm gonna try this thing called Gyaru Mornings, and we're gonna try it out and see how it goes because I'm going crazy in the morning. And I guess I'll just talk about Gyaru stuff and culture and whatnot. So that's fun. Oh my gosh, there's so many likes and love already. I love you guys. You're so adorable. Hello. Okay, so I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about this morning was last night I was watching a YouTube video. Thank you, James. He's blasting me with so many emoji right now. Okay, yeah, so anyway, I wanted to talk about a YouTube video that I watched yesterday, and that was dated to 2013, and it was basically Gyaru for beginners. And oh my gosh, LA traffic is so bad that I can do this and not even move. It's really sad. Anyway, so watching a video yesterday, dated to 2013, and it was Gyaru for beginners, and it was an interview of all these different Gyaru from all over the world. So I guess I'll preface this with, what is Gyaru? Gyaru is the Japanese way of saying gal, and gal was really popular in the 90s, and it really rose in popularity in the late 90s, early 2000s. Big hair, big makeup. It was a revolution against basically mainstream Japanese beauty at the time, which was kind of more of a natural look. So a lot of these gals would have bleach blonde hair, really dark skin, really wild makeup, and the whole premise was basically over feminization, really making yourself look super feminine, making your eyes look really big, making yourself look really cute. And Gyaru has obviously evolved since then. It's not as popular as it used to be in the 90s and 2000s. So those of us that are still doing Gyaru, which is a lot of these girls from 2013 from this YouTube video that I watched, look very much like a holdover from the late 90s, early 2000s, which was a very specific aesthetic. And a lot of the advice that these girls gave was totally poignant and relevant regardless of whether you're into Gyaru or not. And that was first and foremost, be yourself, because trends are gonna come and go. And even if you're doing Gyaru, that is, sure, it's its own trend, but at the end of the day, you're yourself. And although it's important to be trendy, you should make the trend very much your own, and you should own it. And ownership seems to be a big buzzword. If you're in tech, those of you guys know that's a big thing. It's own your product, own yourself. So it's the same thing with beauty standards and Gyaru. So there's a lot of discussion about if you're gonna do Gyaru, sure, there's certain standards and principles of Gyaru, which is being very feminine, but you also should really be yourself. So that was one point, and I thought that was just worth sharing. And at the same time, there's these pieces of advice that these girls are giving that are kind of almost contrary to precisely that advice. And so I feel really conflicted lately, because one of the pieces of advice, and this is from the girl that had put together this whole beginner Gyaru video, was you have to do contouring. And I just don't know how I feel about that. So the way that Gyaru contour their faces is because, a lot of these girls are Japanese and they're trying to get a Western face. And obviously contouring can help shape your face a very specific way. And I just don't know how I feel about this idea of saying well, you have to contour, and then if you have a dewy skin, which is very Korean, that's not Gyaru, because Gyaru have to have matte faces. That doesn't make sense to me. And also I like my face to look like it's glowing. So what, because I put highlighter on, that doesn't make me Gyaru, and yet there's other girls that are saying be yourself. it's really confusing, like, for a beginner to be watching this video and you're getting a lot of very great, very legitimate advice, but at the same time, it's like really scattered and you have like a very conflicting message being told to you, which is like, be yourself, do your own thing, like, this is meant to be for you, and then being told like, well, you have to have big eyes and you have to contour, otherwise you're not a gal. Like, well, that's not really fair. Like, you can't have it both ways. So I guess my big thing lately is just like, what does Gyaru mean to me? And like, how can I uphold the principles of it? And I really feel like I've been so like concentrating on doing it right that in a way I've been kind of losing myself in the process. Like, Gyaru is really big on circle lenses, right? And like basically like fake beauty, which would be like fake nails, fake hair, fake eyelashes, contouring to give yourself a completely different facial structure, giving yourself circle lenses, and it's meant to enhance. Like, I mean fake in that like you're using fake elements to enhance your features or to make yourself look different, which is actually kind of fun. But like, at what cost? And like, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting trapped in this bubble of like, well, I can't do my makeup this way or a certain way. Like, I got a note 6 months ago that was like, hey, the way that you do your blush is like overly larme. And I thought that it looked really cute on me, and I thought that it looked really good with the way I was doing my eyes, and I haven't really done my makeup that way since, and it just like is really bothering me that like this comment, which was totally meant and totally legitimate and totally helpful, was just like pigeonholing me into this one space, and like, oh, well, I can't do this because it's not Gyaru, and oh, well, I can't do Korean eyebrows because they're in conflict with Gyaru eyebrows, because Gyaru eyebrows are usually light and they're usually quite thin. Korean eyebrows are a little bit thicker and they're straight, and it's just a contrast of the two styles. And like, I worry because I feel like I'm kind of an ambassador of this style, and like, am I watering it down? Am I being untrue to the style by being so open to other aesthetics for like incorporating like the Korean brow into my Gyaru makeup? And then that made me think about like, as a creative person, as a creative being, like, I'm constantly meshing shit together. Pardon my French, but like literally I'm constantly smashing things together as a creative person in the way that I dress and in my day-to-day work, because that is interesting and that is fascinating. And it's becoming really apparent to me that Gyaru, being like a subculture that was really popular in the 90s and 2000s, it has its own time and place, kind of like vintage or pinup. And I feel like I don't want to go full Gyaru because then I don't want to feel dated, and I also don't like being pigeonholed into something. So I don't know, I've been like really battling with this lately, and like, I'm not really sure what to do about it all. So yeah, so there's that. Anyway, that aside, I've been discovering the absolute joy and benefit of, now we're just gonna do beauty talk because I'm done messing with my head. So I don't know if any of you have ever heard of double cleansing, but double cleansing is a concept where you basically wash your face with 2 different products, and it's meant to give you a very thorough clean. So especially if you wear a lot of makeup like myself, and you're wearing a lot of product, you definitely want to double cleanse, because it'll help to really like get everything out. So how do you double cleanse? You double cleanse by using an oil-based product. So you want to use DHC, I think is what it's called. It's a Japanese makeup brand. They have a really great cleansing oil, and you basically put it on and you rub it in, and it helps to get like all of the oils and stuff out of your skin, because oil like attracts like. So if you use an oil-based product and you're using waterproof products, which are usually oil-based, using an oil-based cleanser, like literally a pure oil, will pull all of the oils and like dirt and grime, and it'll break down all of the waterproof product. And then you rinse it off with water, and then you go in with like a soapy cleanser to cleanse the skin of the remaining debris and dirt. And depending on the type of cleanser you have, like for example, like mine is a tea tree oil based, it's really good for acne and stuff. And I've definitely noticed a huge difference in my skin since I've started doing that. I used to have really bad skin in middle school, and it was like a huge point of like embarrassment for me. And my mom like put me on a bunch of different products. I was using like Clinique and like a bunch of like really expensive like high-end designer stuff for my skin, and nothing was really working. And it wasn't and like obviously like hormones, whatever, for acne. And then I got into high school and it got better, but by that point I was like still not being very good about my skincare routine. And it wasn't until I went to college and I started to like really thoroughly like scrub my face clean, which you're not supposed to do. Don't exfoliate every day because it'll irritate your skin. I noticed a huge difference in my skin. So really what was happening is I was breaking out a lot because I just simply was not cleaning my skin thoroughly enough. So I've definitely noticed, obviously now that I'm older and I'm an adult, like my hormones are a lot more balanced out. I'm obviously going to break out a lot less, but I have noticed that the combination of not doing drugs, not smoking, not drinking is just naturally going to make my skin pretty happy and healthy. That coupled with really thoroughly washing my skin with this like double technique method has like really changed my life. And like having a really good toner, serum, and moisturizer combination, and like I know it sounds like a lot of work, but I realized that I was spending a lot of money and time and products trying to like go back and reverse a lot of the like bad stuff that I was doing to my skin. So by like investing that like extra 2-3 minutes every day of like thoroughly washing my face, cut down on the amount of like acne products I was using. It saved me a lot of money on like foundation because I wasn't like globbing it on, like trying to like mask any imperfections. And it really just like, it was life-changing. It was like totally the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I highly, highly recommend anyone that's been having acne problems to try the double cleansing technique, because it's definitely helped me a lot. And to invest in like a pretty decent like toner and moisturizer, get some tea tree oil, and then you can have pretty clear face. Yay. Oh my gosh, I need to tell you guys this horrible thing that happened to me this weekend. Okay. It was really, really upsetting. And I see my connection is weak, so I'm gonna babble for a little bit until my connection is better. Sorry, I'm in downtown LA, which is, I think, why my connection is not very good. So if I'm breaking up, I'm really sorry. I really, really hope that my connection comes back in a little bit. It still says the connection is weak. I'm trying to get onto 10, and I'm in downtown. It's really crazy. Okay, so really crazy thing happened to me this weekend rather. So this weekend, the thing that was really crazy that happened to me, sorry for the connection problems, guys. LA is the worst with traffic and reception. So the crazy thing that happened is I have natural nails. My nails have always been like naturally pretty long, and my mom has never allowed me to get acrylics, never allowed to let me get like fake nails, like not ever an option. And I'm an adult, damn it, and I can do whatever I want. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to go full acrylics because I know that nail glue is like really damaging to the nails. So I got acrylic tips, and all you do is you apply the glue to the very, very end of your tips, like probably like 1/4 of an inch at most. And then you apply the tip to that, and then you file it down so that it's like flush with your nail. So I did that this weekend, and it looked bomb. Like my nails were like slamming, right? Like I could kill somebody with these nails, and it looked really cool. And I used like my holographic like nail polish on it. I was super stoked. It looked really bomb. It took forever to dry. I ended up messing up my nail polish with it like immediately, which is totally fine. I was just excited to have like crazy long like ghetto girl nails. It was awesome. It's like very Gyaru, right? And they lasted, I'm not even kidding, they lasted like 2 hours. I went to go close the car door after dinner with James. 3 of them broke off. And I like looked down, one of my fingers is bleeding, and I'm just like, totally the worst thing ever, right? And now I'm like going to dessert with James and Lacey and Sam, and I'm just like, I've always had this thing about my nails where like they all have to be the same length, and my mom taught me this, like you should always have really nice nails, no chip nail polish, it's not ladylike, don't do that. That's what my mom told me. I'm not telling you guys to not do that because you're all grown people. Anyway, so I like broke 3 nails off. The rest of my nails are like these gigantic, monstrous like ones. I'm in like pain. I'm literally bleeding because I just broke these fucking nails. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm so happy that this did not happen with a full nail bit. If it had been glued all the way down to my nail, well, first off, if it was glued all the way down, it might not have broken. But secondly, if it had, it could have ripped off my entire nail. My entire nail bed could have been exposed. I could have been bleeding a lot more, like all over the restaurant. Gross, right? So now I'm at dessert with like my friends and my husband, and I'm missing like 3 nails that like got broken off. I'm bleeding out of one fingernail because I thought that this was a great idea to put on like acrylic tips, and I'm like doing everything I can to like get these like fake nail tips off. So I'm like I'll like take one off, like pop it off, and then I'll like low-key like put it into my back pocket and I'm just like doing this all under the table, so when my hands come out from under the table, they're like back to the normal length, but there's like this clear line of like where the nail was and like where the nail polish is. I just look like a completely crazy person, and mind you, I'm still bleeding out of one finger. So the moral of the story, I guess, is don't put acrylic nail tips on, and if you do and it's your first time, don't do really long ones because you're just gonna break them within like 2 hours of putting them on. You're gonna cry and you're gonna bleed and you're gonna like be taking your nail tips off like a crazy person in the middle of this restaurant, embarrassing yourself in front of your friends because you're so messy. So don't do that. It's horrible, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm on the 10 and the connection is weak, so I'm gonna have a sip of my Starbucks. Great, connection's back. Okay, so I'm on the 10, and I don't know if you guys know, but I just bought a new house with my husband. We live in Tahunga, and the first thing people ask is, where the hell is Tahunga? Don't feel bad. I thought the same. I had no idea where Tahunga was. In fact, the only reason why I did know about this house and Tahunga is because I was having lunch with my friend Lacey in Montrose, I think is it's called, La Crescenta, Montrose area. And we're having brunch, and we had been looking for houses in LA for a while. Like, we had put an offer on a couple of houses. We got outbid like immediately. House hunting in LA is brutal. Like, you can find a really awful, mediocre house, like a 2-bedroom, 900 square foot in like Crenshaw for like $500,000, and not in a great neighborhood, and you still have to put down a huge deposit, and you have to compete with other offers. It was pretty tough. And like, James and I did not have very big needs for this house, right? Like, we wanted a big garage for James. I wanted land so that I can build a garden, so that I could have a chicken coop, you know, like all I wanted was land. I couldn't care. Like, it could have been a 1-bedroom, it could have been a 3-bedroom, it could have had ugly shag carpet, like closets, maybe a bathroom, great. But like, absolutely not picky at all about any of these houses. And there was one house in particular we found in Monterey Park, which is like the Asian part of town, which is perfect because it's relatively affordable. It's got lots of good food. It's off of the 60. If you don't know where Monterey Park is, it's like east of downtown LA, and it was like pretty good placement for everything that we wanted. Because we both work on the west side. Buying a house on the west side is just, you might as well just kill yourself. Like, unless you have $1 million, there's no point in like even trying. So we were like, okay, like Monterey Park, and this house, I think it was either the original owner or only had 2 owners. And the house was like really lovely. They wanted like $600,000 for it, and that was at the top of our budget. $600,000, you guys, for like this 2.5 bedroom, I think, or 1.5 bedroom, I don't remember, but it was like relatively small. with like a lot of land and a garage. So again, like lots of land, garage, that's all we cared about. Mid-century modern, which was really cool. My connection is weak, so I don't know how much of this you guys are hearing. I'm just gonna stop talking for a second. Or whatever, I'm just gonna keep talking. So anyway, we put an offer on this house that was like everything that we needed, and we put in a very respectable offer of like the house was like 600,000. We put in an offer at like 580 or 90, I don't remember. This was a while ago, and we got outbid super fast. The house ended up going for 650, and I mean, this house was like not worth 650, and it's in Monterey Park. And although it was lovely, like it still needed a lot of love. And I think that was the last house that we put an offer in on, because it was just too competitive and too stressful, and we were like looking at a bunch of places that we didn't even like, just for the sake of buying a house. Because at that point we were thinking, okay, we're paying $1,200 in rent every day, or every day, not every day, $1,200 every month, and we could pay a little bit more, and we can own the land, and it's basically like a giant piggy bank that you can never touch, as opposed to paying rent, which is basically paying somebody else's piggy bank, and you don't get anything besides not being homeless. And that just doesn't make any sense. And James's mom, thank God for James's mom, like she helped us a lot with this process. She helped us with, you know, some of the money to like put in a down payment, and if it wasn't for her, we definitely could not have bought this house by ourselves. So thank you, Mei Ling, for all of your help and guidance, because we would not have been able to even like entertain the idea of buying a house in LA without her. So anyway, we put in this offer, we got outbid, and at the time I think James and I were like going on a trip, we were getting married, James was looking for a new job, things were really crazy for me, and we're like, you know what, let's just take a break from house hunting. So anyway, I'm in Mount Rose months after having this pretty nasty experience of like putting in offers. Things just weren't going well. We weren't getting along with our agent at the time. We just figured, you know what, screw this, let's take a break. So I'm at brunch, and I'm driving from Burbank, which is where we lived at the time, to Mount Rose, and you have to take the 134 and then the 210 north. And I'm driving, and it's these big, beautiful rolling hills. So to give you guys some context, it's basically like a little bit north of Pasadena, Glendale, Pasadena. So it's like, it starts to get really hilly. And the 210 runs between these hills. And I'm like driving down the 210 thinking to myself like, wow, this is a really beautiful area. And like, I can't believe I've never been here before. And I grew up in LA, like I'm an LA local, like never, ever been in this part of LA. I was shocked that it was so beautiful and so pristine and relatively untouched and not really developed. So I get to brunch, and my friend Lacey's like, so how's house hunting? Are you still doing it? And I go, no, actually, like we kind of just said F you to house hunting, because house hunting in LA has been crazy, super competitive, really expensive, really frustrating. Like the house buying process is not intuitive. They really should teach you in school how to do these things, because it's just like people are uneducated and they don't know what to do, like us. So anyway, we're sitting in Mount Rose in this cafe, and I'm like, you know what? Since I'm talking to you about buying houses and how we're not buying houses anymore because we're too stressed out, I'm gonna open Redfin, which is a great app for looking for houses, and I'm gonna see if there's anything in the area, because this is actually not that bad of an area to live in. And I found our house, and it was like literally the first thing that came up. It was listed at $499, and it's a geodesic dome, which is like literally it's a dome home. It's like a soccer ball cut in half, and that's it. And it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1/4 acre of land, 2.5 car garage, up in the like boonies, like in the hills somewhere in Tahunga. And I text James and I'm like, this house is fantastic. And the only other house that came close to like my excitement was this, what we call the Tilly house. The Tilly house we saw in Mount Washington, and this was like the first or second house we ever saw. The Tilly house used to be a hunting cabin in LA. Like this is like turn of the century LA, when Mount Washington used to be hunting grounds. And you'd have these walking streets. So if you've ever been in those parts of LA and you see walking streets, it could possibly be that used to be a mountain, like a mountain-y kind of cabin-y part of LA where people would go hunting. And so this particular house, the Tilly house that we were looking at, was built in the 1920s. It was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and it was literally like 600 square feet. It's this tiny little thing on this huge swath of land. Huge, like curving, it's like straight, and it kind of goes up a little bit, and then it slopes down, and it's like built for a really big, nice garden. They had kale and all this beautiful stuff growing there, and I loved it. But it was everything that I wanted. It was like the perfect house for me, right? Because for me, all I wanted was a bunch of land, but James wanted a garage. Because he's got 2 RX-7s, he's got a scooter, he now has a bicycle, or a motorcycle, and he's a tinkerer, like he needs a space. And it did have a garage, but it was like a 1 carport shack. I don't know if you would even call it a garage. I mean, it didn't have really any electrical or anything interesting in there. Like, he would not have been able to do car guy stuff in there. And it was, and it's a walking street, like upstairs, like a huge flight of stairs. And like as a single family, sure, like that would have been a good place. But for those of you that have bought a house before, like you don't just like buy a house, live in it for 2 years, and then move out like you would in an apartment. Like you have to look at it and be like, is this gonna scale with me and my family? And his mom came with us to view the property, and she said, well, 2 things. Kat, how are you gonna walk these stairs when you're pregnant? To which I was thinking, well, I'm not gonna be pregnant for a while. But she did have a good point. Like, if I'm pregnant or I'm carrying a lot of groceries or we have children, like these stairs are gonna be a necessity to navigate. And the fact that we can't drive up to the house, so how would we even move our stuff in? Like, we would have to pay movers to like haul everything up and down these stairs. And then again, like for James, like this garage problem is a real problem. Like, this is a real need for him. So we ended up passing on the Tilly house, and now we're looking at this new house in Tahunga, this geodesic dome, and I'm thinking, this is the Tilly house plus everything that James wanted. It's got the land. It's like literally like pitch black at night, and it's so peaceful, and there's birds, and then across the street it's like an empty open lot, and there's like woodland creatures. And like now when I wake up in the morning, there's like cottontail rabbits in our backyard in LA. How amazing is that? Like, it's like I live a fairy tale. Every single morning when I wake up, there's like cottontail rabbits, there's quail. James said that he saw a snake, but I haven't seen any snakes yet. There's blue jays, woodpeckers, crows, hawks. There's like a whole menagerie of life. Oh, and then we've got a pond in the back, like a little well sort of pond. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. And we have 3 fish in there, and they're called Tom, Dick, and Harry. And it's literally like a small slice of heaven. And even though my commute, which by the way, thank you for joining me on my commute, because it's kind of hell. Even though my commute is really long, I commute an hour to and from work every day. On a good day, it'll be 45 minutes, and that's only at night, late coming back from the west side. But other than that, it's almost always an hour. But it's worth it. Like, I love my house. We got it for a very, very reasonable price, and I think telling you guys the story of buying our house is gonna be its own adventure. But the house was listed at $499. We ended up getting it at $440 after a very, very long, dramatic, very emotional couple of months. It was everything again that we wanted. It was a 1/4 acre of land. It was this very large garage. And like, all we could care about, we needed a roof, a bathroom, and a bedroom. Like, could not care how big this house was, could not care about the finishings, because like, we had viewed other houses in LA, and we would like see these, literally, it was practically a studio apartment, some of these houses in LA, in like an okay, mediocre neighborhood. We're talking like North Hollywood or something. And so we'd be viewing these houses in LA with the agent there, and the agent's like, so what do you think about the finishes? And I'm like looking at them like, finishes? Like, who cares about your $20 upgraded IKEA faucet? Like, nobody cares about your finishes. Oh, I think that looks like funeral flowers. It's really sad. So yeah, we'd be like looking at houses, and these agents would be like, oh, well, all of the flooring is new. And it's like, okay, flooring, like, you guys are still asking for $600,000 for like literally a shack in the middle of LA. Or they'll be like, oh, well, the finishings are brand new. And I'm like, I don't care about the finishings. Like, the finishings are not why I'm driving an hour to and from work every single day. They're not why I'm paying $2,000 every month. Like, nobody's gonna pay $2,000 every month for finishings or a walk-in closet. People pay $2,000 a month or more, like $4,000 a month, because they love where they live and it like suits all of their needs. And like, it was the same thing when we were decorating the house. Like, so we basically got 2 bedrooms, but one of the bedrooms is technically a loft. Since it's a geodesic dome, imagine this dome is cut in half. So one half of it is basically just open space. The other half of it is what is divided into, the lower half is divided into our kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom. The upper half has the stairs leading upstairs, and it's a bathroom and an open loft. So we basically have, I would say it's a 1-bedroom house with a loft. But that loft is probably going to become our bedroom when we have children. So anyway, we're looking at the space and we're trying to figure out what to do with it. And James's mom is like, oh, you know, like the downstairs would make for a really good entertaining space and it'd be a really lovely living room. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, it could be a good living room. We could have our couch in there, but it's a curved space as well. And I'm thinking, wait, like, hold on, creative problem solving here. Like, any creative person is going to ask, like, what is the purpose? Like, what are we trying to achieve here? And what do we even do in our house? Realistically, James and I throw maybe 3 parties a year at our house. It's not a house for entertaining. It's not really a house for having dinners, because I'm never home anymore. I never cook because I'm commuting so far. And we don't have like a big family that's coming over every day. So why are we looking at this space as an entertaining space? It's not. It's a space where we come home to decompress because our jobs are very stressful and our commute is very stressful. And we come home to play video games and just sit on the couch and catch up. Like, that's where we spend a lot of our time. We work whenever we're working from home, or we have side projects, or if we're, you know, freelancing, and we sleep. Those are like the 4 things that we do at home. We decompress, we work, we play video games, and catch up, and we sleep. So I'm looking at the space going, well, I don't see any point in having a living room, because living rooms end up being spaces that nobody really lives in. I would much rather have the downstairs, this big lofted area, be a dedicated workspace. And upstairs in our loft is going to be where our couch and TV is, because it's kind of like this cozy, I'm calling it the Bat Cave now because I put up a bunch of like bat decorations for Halloween that we're probably going to keep up. And then that's it. Like, there's no need for us to have a TV room and a living room and an entertaining space and a dining room. Like, we never eat at home. And now that we have patio chairs in the patio, the weather is great in LA. There's no reason for us to have this giant dining room that no one's gonna ever use ever. So thinking about our space in terms of how we actually use it has helped minimize on the amount of clutter that we've brought into the space. We don't have unnecessary furniture. Like, literally downstairs we have a piano. The piano's a long story, I'm not even gonna go into it. And we have our desks. And that's it. Like, and that's the perfect space. Like, James has been working from home and it's beautiful. Like, you open up the windows, you've got fresh air, you've got literally a whole forest outside of this window, and the birds are chirping and the sun is like flowing through, and it's like one of the best creative spaces to work in. It's almost like an empty canvas, and there's no way we could have achieved that upstairs in the loft. There's no way we could have achieved this sort of space, like literally space, for creative thinking and problem solving if I hadn't kind of been like, okay, well, no, this has to be a workspace, and it has to be a dedicated workspace for the both of us to come, sit down and work, and not have a TV blaring next to us, and not be like covered and cluttered with like stuff and projects. Like, no, this is a clean space for creative thought. And then upstairs we have our loft, which has a couch and a TV. And since we both love playing Overwatch, like if one of us is downstairs working, we put our microphones, our headphones in, TV is silent. One of us could be upstairs playing video games. The person downstairs is working and it's dead silent. and they could focus. And, you know, again, like the backyard is like the perfect space to eat, relax, drink coffee, which I don't do, but James does occasionally. And then in the bedroom is the space to sleep. And like, I seriously don't think any of this would have happened if we hadn't just thought about like, not like, well, what would we like? Because everyone would like a walk-in closet and like the like cute bathtubs, the porcelain bathtubs with the little feet. Like, sure, I would like to have that. But really, James and I sat there and we thought about it and we're like, well, what do we need? And I was like, well, I need an outdoor space to reset, because this is our home and that is my way, that is my oasis, is having a green space to come home to. And then James did the same. He's like, well, my oasis is my garage, so that I could work on my RX-7, so that I could work on my scooters, so that I can have all of my 5 bazillion power tools and not have to worry about them. And then the house itself is just a house. Like, we couldn't care less, because again, like, that was not a priority to us. A priority for us was space to come home, to reset, to be chill and flourish. So yeah, I'm at work. I'm on this sort of property with like really crazy like architecture, and this was really fun, and I hope you guys had fun. And thank you to everybody that like has tuned in and has been watching me like go crazy and cut people off in LA traffic and stuff. And I hope to do this every Wednesday morning with you guys, because it's really fun. Yeah, I was gonna sign off, but I need to turn. Yay. All right, well, I hope you all have a really beautiful day, and I love you all, and you are all beautiful and brilliant, and be yourselves, and I will talk to you later. Bye.